to reach the rooftop. The man took a deep breath. Both feet build up strength in advance. Then a flying jump up, successfully grabbed the statue. But he could not let up yet. He was now hanging in midair. He could fall at any time. He held onto the statue and slowly moved up. The right hand holds the head of the lion. His left leg stepped on the lion's nose. He managed to climb up to the rooftop in the position of a toad crawling. Now he could finally catch his breath. But now was not the time to rest. He hurriedly opened the door of the rooftop. Let his family come up to escape from the poisonous gas. Up to this moment, the man's hands were still trembling. But the crisis is not over yet. The gas was still rising slowly. The rescue plane had to be seen to get them out. Just then, Mary saw the cell phone in her family's hand. She had an idea. She told everyone to turn on their flashing lights to attract the attention of the rescue plane. And she ran downstairs, turning on the lights of the billboard. By the flashing lights, the rescue plane soon found them. As the rescue plane landed, they also went up to the basket. But just as Mary was getting up there, the overweight alarm suddenly went off. The firefighters had to lock the gates. The man and Mary had to wait for the next rescue. They had no choice but to say goodbye to their families. Another rescue plane soon arrived. They were overjoyed and waved to the plane. But suddenly they realized there was a group of trapped students in the opposite building. They looked at the plane in the sky and made a difficult decision. They got a bunch of dummies. They set up an arrow on the ground, pointing at the trapped students. The pilot instantly understood and immediately turned around. They flew in the direction of the group of students. Eventually the students were all rescued, but the gas was still rising. The men couldn't just sit there and wait for death. They had to get to higher ground before help arrived. The two men gathered some supplies. Then they put on their gas masks. They ran through the gas. Soon they arrived at a gym. They used a fan to blow the gas off their bodies before they dared to take off their gas masks. But as soon as they opened the window, they were dumbfounded. There was even more gas here than before. They had to go to the opposite building, but there was only one mask left. Two people is not enough. In desperation, the man suddenly thought of a way. He tied a rope to a dumbbell. He threw it to the opposite rooftop with great force. The rope suddenly became a bridge to save lives. Mary tied on the safety rope and slowly advanced towards the opposite side. In a short time, she managed to climb up to the rooftop. Mary immediately pulled up the rope. Let the man also climb over. But the man had just climbed up to the window. But then an accident happened. The man grabs the rope and slowly moves forward. At the bottom is the poisonous gas that kills people. If you fall, you will definitely die. But then the gas suddenly came up. The poison gas drifted into the barbecue restaurant. It was sucked in by the air duct, and then it came out of the chimney. Mary immediately panicked and told the man to climb over quickly. But despite the man's speed, but still cannot match the flow of poisonous gas. Seeing that the gas is about to eat his girlfriend, the man decided to crawl backwards. Let his girlfriend leave as soon as possible. The poisonous gas quickly spread. Mary subconsciously backward, but the body is still tied to the safety rope. Untie it to have a chance of survival. Otherwise she could only wait for death. Just as she hesitated, the rope suddenly moved. She looked up to the front. A 100-ton dumbbell fell from the sky. It hit her hard in front of her. It turned out to be a man with a gas mask crawling through the poisonous fog. The two did not have time to rest. Quickly climb up to the higher rooftop, but before they could catch their breath, not far away, there was an explosion. The explosion caused by the shockwave instantly drove the gas to their side. In order to survive, they had to get to the highest building. But how to get to the other side? Looking at the gas rolling downstairs, they used the mattress as a buffer. Jumped from above to the ground floor roof. There was no time. They could only keep running. At this moment, they seemed to be in a race against time. If they ran slowly, they would be swallowed by the gas. The two men shuttled through the roofs of the buildings. They didn't dare to stop for a moment. They were about to reach the end. The man handed Mary the rope. He tied her to himself. Then he hands over a handful of chalk dust, rubbing the chalk dust into his hands. The two of them climbed up to the building, finally arrived at the front of the building, but instantly dumbfounded. This is a few hundred meters away from the building. How to get there? Just when they were desperate, a bunch of drones flew overhead. It turns out they are not alone. There were many people in the city who were lending a hand. The man had an idea. He waved his hand at the drones. The drone saw it and flew in his direction. The man drew a plan of action on the ground. The drone instantly understood in seconds. It picked up the man's rescue rope. It was attached to the pipe of the next building. The man immediately pulled the rope tight. Then he tied the other end to the iron bar. Then tied the safety buckle. After the two shouted, then grabbed the rope towards the opposite side and jumped over. But if there is no accident came immediately. They came to the middle and stuck. Two people hanging in midair. The bottom of the gas is still rising, and at this time the end of the rope is also about to fall off. There was no time to hesitate. Mary pinned her feet to the man and rode on him. From his backpack took out a pair of iron pliers. She told the man to hold on. Then she cut the rope. The inertia of gravity sent the two swinging over. She thought she would get there safely, but the knot suddenly fell off. The two of them instantly lost their focus and fell straight downstairs. Did they die like this? Rescue aircraft soon arrived at the scene, but after searching for a long time, the two people were not found. Just when the pilots were about to give up, they suddenly saw the light of fire. The pilot hurriedly flew in the direction of the fire. It turned out that they were not dead, but grabbed the building and climbed up. With the arrival of rescue planes, they were finally saved.